granted within the party. As you have taken leadership in the DNC, how are you addressing this issue? In particular, how are you listening to the voices of poor and working class women of color on the ground in using these community leaders as paid strategists for campaigns?
Well, first of all, thank you. My mother told me I can't see someone, like Gordon, I can't see you over there, so I'm just going to move over here a little bit so I can see all of you, okay? First of all, thank you for your questions, thank you for your leadership. And as I said in my introductory remarks, when I got to the DNC, we had to do some soul searching. And one of the things that was abundantly clear to me was that we had taken people for granted. And most notably, our most loyal constituency, African Americans. And so we immediately changed our mission statement. The old DNC was about electing the president every 4 years. The new DNC is about electing people from the school board to the Oval Office. And it's about working in every zip code to do that. We used to have a 50-state strategy. And quite frankly, when we abandoned the 50-state strategy, that sent a very terrible message in places like Alabama and Mississippi and Georgia, places in the Deep South. We're effectively saying to African American voters, who are a large percentage of voters in those states, that you don't matter as much. That is why we changed our mission statement. That's why we were one of the earliest committees to invest in Alabama. I've known Doug Jones for about 20 years. We worked together in the Clinton Justice Department. One of the reasons we invested in Alabama is because we believed in Doug Jones. And we invested, it wasn't simply the $1 million or so that we invested, but it was when we invested it. We invested it early, and we invested it to make sure that we were listening. And it was not just when we invested, but how. We hired about 20 organizers. They were all of the community. I'm a big believer that if you're organizing in Alabama, you need organizers from Alabama. Yeah. And so we did that. We had consultants who were working with faith leaders because we understood that the faith communities in Alabama are an anchor that we had frankly ignored. And so our consultants on the ground, again, folks from Alabama, organizing in Alabama, working in Alabama. And that's what they were doing. And we were proud to have been part of the team. Again, it was a huge team of people that helped Doug win. But I was really proud of the work that we were able to do, working with the campaign, working with other folks in the community. Some of the, and Alabama is not the only place where we have done this. I'm proud of the work we did to help Vi Lyles get elected as the mayor in Charlotte, North Carolina. In Atlanta, Georgia, we worked very, very hard to make sure that the new mayor there, we did a lot of work with Keisha Lance Bottoms in Atlanta. So
yes,
that's the new DNC.
Thank you. We so appreciate that. But how many women, black women, African American women, have been employed as strategists? How have you leveraged? How have you leveraged the wins, the work, the political work that African American women are doing in this country? How are you having them at the table to help strategize, to bring our issues at the forefront of the Democratic Party? That's very important, sir. Only because, listen, the thing about it is that African American women are holding the Democratic Party together. Amen. And if our issues and our work and our power is not at the helm of the Democratic Party, then we feel used, we feel objects as though we're objects, and our value and what we bring to the political power, in particular the Democratic Party, is an insult. And we're tired. And we need to know. We don't need nuance. We need specifics.
Oh, absolutely. I could not agree more with you. And you should always judge people by their actions. I invite you to judge us by our actions. Look at the diversity of the DNC under our leadership. I am very proud. In every job I've had, whether it was running the Civil Rights Division, running the Department of Labor, I believe that when you have the most diverse team, you have the best team. And you look at the diversity at the DNC, African American diversity, Latino diversity, Asian American diversity, LGBT diversity, religious diversity, diversity broadly defined. We have the most diverse team ever. In Alabama, when we were organizing and helping Doug, we had a consultant in Birmingham, African American woman, who was helping us figure out how we engage African American communities, because we knew that when we're down in Alabama, we need to work with people down in Alabama. And what we're doing, not only in Alabama, but across the country, is continuing this process of engagement. So take us back to Monday of this week. One of the things, I was in Cleveland, Ohio. I was in Ohio in the run-up to their primary. And one of the things we did Monday afternoon, and it's part of a very conscious effort to get out into African American communities, we had an event in Cleveland. Congresswoman Fudge helped us organize the event. And it was a listening session with African American women. We had about 30 women in the room, including one of the state legislators, one of the members of the Cleveland City Council, leading those efforts. Because you know what? We got to make house calls in this job. We can't just do it from Washington, D.C. And we're continuing those efforts. And you look at where we're investing our resources. Again, not simply in Alabama, but you look at what we've done in Atlanta and in Charlotte and elsewhere. Whenever someone says that an issue is important, I always say budgets are moral documents. They reflect the values of the community. So I really appreciate what you're saying, and I would love to get your input next time we're down in Alabama so that we can listen further.
Thank you.